Space. Everyone thinks zero gravity, beautiful views, the romance of the stars. Forget that right now. Space is a vacuum that will tear you apart from the inside in seconds. Today, I'll show you 6 of the most terrifying ways to die in space, from instant to painfully slow. And yes, in one of them, you'll be fully aware of how you're dying for a full 90 seconds. Method number 1, decompression. Your spacesuit tears, or you accidentally open the airlock without checking. A micrometeoroid punches through your helmet visor. What happens next? For the first 10 to 15 seconds, you're still conscious. And here's what you feel. The water in your eyes, in your mouth, on your tongue starts to boil. Not from heat, but from low pressure. In a vacuum, water boils at room temperature. This is called ebullism. Your saliva literally bubbles inside your mouth. At the same time, your body begins to swell. Gases in your lungs and stomach expand because there's no external pressure anymore. You won't explode like in Hollywood movies. That's a myth. But you will bloat to nearly double your size. Your skin stretches to its limit. After about 15 seconds, you lose consciousness. The oxygen in your blood runs out. The brain shuts down. You feel nothing anymore. Another 60 to 90 seconds later, brain death occurs. If within those 90 seconds they manage to pull you back into the airlock and restore pressure, you'll survive. There have been such cases. If not, that's it. The end. And what happens to your body after death? It won't rot. There are no bacteria in a vacuum. Your body will mummify, completely dry out, freeze to minus 270 degrees, and drift through space forever. A cosmic corpse, floating between the stars, forever. But this isn't the worst part, because the next method doesn't kill you instantly. It slowly burns you from the inside. Method number 2, radiation. In space, there is no Earth's magnetic field to protect you from the solar wind and cosmic rays. You are completely exposed to a stream of particles moving at near light speed. A solar flare is a burst of charged particles traveling at over 1,000,000 kilometers per hour. If you're caught in open space during one, you receive a lethal dose of radiation in minutes. Even a spacesuit won't save you. It protects against vacuum, not gamma rays. What does radiation do to your body? It destroys DNA inside your cells, literally breaks molecular bonds. The first symptoms appear fast: nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Your body realizes something is terribly wrong. Within hours, your skin turns red and blisters like from an extreme burn. But this burn comes from the inside. Days later, your hair begins to fall out. Your immune system collapses. Internal organs fail one by one. Bone marrow stops producing blood cells. You bleed from the inside, through your nose, mouth, eyes. Weeks later, if you're still alive, cancer begins. Multiple tumors throughout your body. Death comes slowly and painfully. This isn't a quick flash of pain. It's weeks of agony. On the International Space Station, astronauts are partially protected. But in 6 months, they receive a radiation dose equivalent to 1,000 X-rays. In open space, it's 100 times worse. But there's an even more twisted way to die, one where you burn and freeze at the same time. Method number 3, thermal hell. In space, there is no air, which means there is no heat transfer through convection. Heat is transferred only through radiation, and that creates absolutely insane conditions. On the sunlit side, the temperature is plus 120 degrees Celsius. On the shadow side, minus 150, a difference of 270 degrees across just a few meters. If you end up in space without a spacesuit, one half of your body will be burning while the other is freezing at the same time. But here's the interesting part. You won't freeze instantly like in the movies. In a vacuum, heat escapes slowly because there's no air to carry it away. First, you'll die from suffocation. Remember those same 90 seconds. Only after that will your dead body begin to cool down slowly, over several hours. Gradually, the temperature will drop to minus 270 degrees, nearly absolute zero. You'll become an icy statue, frozen in a vacuum forever. But there's the opposite problem too. If you're in a spacesuit on the sunlit side and the cooling system fails, overheating begins. The suit turns into an oven. The temperature inside rises to plus 50 degrees. You literally boil inside your own suit. Sweat floods your eyes. You choke from the heat. Heat stroke hits within minutes. The heart can't take it. Death. Space is a place where you can burn and freeze at the same time, where temperature kills you from both sides. But all of this happens relatively fast. The next method, though, is slow agony, where you know exactly when you're going to die. Method number 4, suffocation. Slow, agonizing agony. You're trapped in a capsule or a spacesuit. Communication is gone. Help isn't coming, and you know it. In a spacesuit, the oxygen supply lasts 6 to 8 hours. In a capsule, up to 3 days. You see the indicator. You know exactly when you'll die. You stare at the countdown timer, and you wait. It's psychological torture worse than physical pain. At first, everything feels fine. You breathe calmly, try to conserve energy, minimize movement, but gradually the air becomes heavy. Carbon dioxide builds up. Every breath takes effort. A headache appears. Dull, crushing, impossible to escape. Your heart starts beating faster, trying to compensate for the lack of oxygen. Your lungs burn with every inhale. You're suffocating even though there's still air. It's just poisoned with carbon dioxide. Panic rises. You gasp for air like a fish on land. It's an instinct you can't control. When oxygen levels drop below 10%, hallucinations begin. You see things that aren't there. You hear voices. Maybe it's the brain's mercy, trying to ease your final minutes with illusions. Then come the seizures. Your body convulses, desperately trying to force the lungs to work. Then, loss of consciousness. And finally, death. But there's a way where you won't even understand what happened. Death will come faster than a blink. Method number 5. Collision with space debris. Millions of fragments are flying through space, remnants of old satellites, rocket stages, pieces of exploded spacecraft, and all of them move at speeds of around 28,000 kilometers per hour. Imagine a bolt just 1 centimeter in size. On Earth, you wouldn't even notice it under your foot. But in space, at that speed, that bolt carries the impact energy of a hand grenade. It will punch straight through your spacesuit. You won't even realize what happened. You won't have time to react. One moment you're alive, the next, dead. Just a hole in your suit and the vacuum ripping the life out of you. There are more than 100 million pieces of space debris in Earth orbit. Most of them are smaller than 1 centimeter. They can't be tracked by radar. NASA only knows about larger objects over 10 centimeters. The smaller ones are a lottery. You never know if a piece of metal is flying toward you right now at bullet speed. The International Space Station has to maneuver to avoid collisions. On average, about once a year. Sometimes the warning comes just minutes before impact. Astronauts hide in escape capsules and simply hope the fragment passes by. They pray that a piece of debris the size of a coin doesn't kill them all. But I saved the most horrifying method for last. This isn't just death. It's your body being stretched into atoms, alive. Method number 6. A black hole. The most terrifying, the most painful, the most unimaginable nightmare the universe can create. A black hole is gravity multiplied by infinity. A place where space and time shatter like fragile glass. As you approach it, what scientists call tidal forces begin. Your legs, closer to the hole, are pulled much harder than your head. The difference in gravity is enormous, and you start to stretch. Muscles tear one by one. Skin splits at the seams. You turn into a long, thin strand of human flesh. Still alive, still aware. The pain is unbearable. Every cell of your body is being ripped apart by different gravitational forces. You scream, but there is no sound. In a vacuum, no one hears you. You stretch thinner and thinner. And now, the worst part. Beyond the event horizon of a black hole, time slows down for you. To an outside observer, you freeze forever, suspended at the edge. But for you, you keep falling and stretching, again and again. Forever, you die endlessly. Your consciousness dissolves into agony that never ends. This is the most horrifying way to die in the universe, and now you know it.